Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Main Street Fire Rescue. It's Matty, and I'm doing a kind of a quicker vlog from home this morning. My plans kind of changed a bit. I have some training this morning that I have to go to attend in a little bit. It's for a couple hours, and then after that, I was going to go out to the theme parks, and you know, I have some ideas for some vlogs today. However, it is thundering and raining like crazy and is supposed to do so for quite some time. I thought it wasn't supposed to rain at all today, but hey, welcome to Florida, right? There was a basically partly cloudy, wide open forecast today. And I thought, I'm like, as I was getting ready this morning, I hear thunder rumbling. I'm like, is that thunder? Because it had looked cloudy since this morning, but it's just gonna be cloudy today. And I checked the weather app. There we go. Yeah, so it's going to storm for a little while. Probably going to clear up about 1:30. So if it does, we'll go out to the parks later on. Like I said, I got to go to training in a little bit here, but I thought I would film this, get it uploaded. That way I can get this out this morning, because I have some information in today's vlog that I really want people to pay attention to and take this to heart. This is not a theme park vlog at the moment. This is something totally different. However, to be congruent with the name of the channel on this one, Main Street Fire Rescue, this has to do with an incident that happened, I think it was this morning? Yeah, this morning at the PGA Championship in Louisville, Kentucky, at Valhalla Golf Course. So I'm going to talk about that in a minute, and why I really want you all to share this out, and please listen to what I have to say, and just take my advice on this. I promise you, it will make your life easier. All right, I'll get to that in a second. But one thing I do want to share before that is, as soon as I can figure out how to set all this up, I'm going to start changing the way I do my vlogs from home, meaning I actually used a little extra money, okay? Not a lot, these things were on sale. We're starting off basic. Like, when I say basic, I mean $40, $50 basic. But we'll see how it works. And if it allows me to grow the channel, we'll get better equipment. That's one of my things I want to do is, once I do get monetized, which we're getting there, we gotta get to 1,000. We're getting there. It's a progress. This has been very much a learning experience. But what I want to do is, once I start making some money and the channel starts making some money, I want to put that back into the channel to bring everybody a better experience. And then over the next, months and years, we can look back and go, holy cow, look at where we came from, But to start, I made a $45, $50 investment, and we have one of these now. So this isn't anything crazy, but I found this on Amazon. We got an external mic now for podcasting, which that means I'm not going to have to talk from here to the camera. I can actually set this up, and just like the pros do it, we'll have a microphone, and it will probably sound a lot better, because again, that's what I want to start doing is, I'm learning as we go here. So I want to build better quality. I want better quality vlogs. I want better quality sound. It is fun to learn this. But I found this, like I said, on Amazon. This was on sale for, I think it was like 45 or 50 bucks, and this should be cool. It has a very high rating on it. This was also a very good deal, because this thing normally runs about 90 bucks. Now, that pales in comparison to, what do they call them? I call them Rode. Is that the name of it? R-O-D-E. The Rode microphones, yeah, those are like 1,200 bucks. One of these days we'll get up there, but while I'm learning all this, I thought this is going to be a great start. So I'm going to figure out how to hook this thing up later on. Probably won't be today. I got a lot going on today, but as we move forward the next couple days, I'm going to figure out how to hook this thing up. When I do so, I'll probably do an unboxing with this too, so you all see what this thing looks like. So we're moving up. We're getting there. So I'm very excited to bring you all some more better, great grammar, Matt. I'm excited to bring you better content, better experiences, And even as we move up and I have some extra money, again, I love my G7X Mark II, but I would like to start getting into like the Sony, what is it, the A7X. If I'm learning my camera type, so forgive me if I'm mispronouncing that, but I think it's the A7X or AX7 or however it goes. If I need to be, if I'm making a mistake on that, let me know below, and let me in the comments, let me know what that camera is. But I've read the reviews on that one, and it's stellar. And thank you again, everybody. That Universal video did fantastic. We're at 1,000 views after like 2 or 3 days. Added another 10 to 12 subscribers to the channel. So keep it going. Share this stuff out. Again, once we hit 1,000 subscribers, that's game changing. So thank you all very much. And I'm trying to figure out how to compose a list too of my subscribers right now, because all the original subscribers, I want to keep you all in mind, because when this thing does grow, it's nice to see who helped you along the way. So anyway, thank you again. I really appreciate it. Lots more to come. But let's get to the topic of today. The whole reason I started this vlog today. And what am I talking about? Okay, this made the news. I just saw this a few minutes ago before I started this. The article is from ESPN. Scottie Scheffler arrested before PGA Championship round 2. And I know you might be saying, well, Matt, what does this have to do with anything? As I say, hold on, sit down tight. We're going to lower that lap restraint. Let's go on for the go with me on this ride, because I promise you I'm going somewhere with this. The article says world #1 golfer Scottie Scheffler was arrested by Louisville Metro Police on Friday morning after trying to drive into the entrance of Valhalla Golf Club, the site of this week's PGA Championship. Sounds perfectly innocent. Just trying to drive into the golf course. He's got a tournament today. It's the second major of the year, and he's going to play golf, and he got arrested. What? Okay. Also, if you can tell by some of my other vlogs, I outside of the theme parks and all the adventure and fun stuff, I'm a big sports fan. Golf, bowling, football, basketball, a lot of both pro and college. But I love golf. And so anytime I see something, or during, the NCAA and NFL college and basketball season, not so much the NBA basketball, but college basketball especially, but pro and college football and golf and all that, I'll throw some stuff in from time to time. But this one here has a lot to do with both what I do for a living, and it's just a good lesson on how not to be an asshole. So I'm going to continue. So it said, traffic outside the golf course had been stopped after a man was struck and killed by a shuttle bus around 5 a.m. this morning. That's not good. It says Scheffler faces charges of second-degree assault of a police officer, third-degree criminal mischief, reckless driving, and disregarding traffic signals from an officer directing traffic. Scheffler was released this morning at 8:40 a.m. and headed to Valhalla. The assault charge is a felony. The others are misdemeanors. According to ESPN, a reporter, Jeff Darlington, who witnessed the incident, Scheffler was trying to drive around the crash scene on a median. That's what we're going to talk about late in a minute. A police officer instructed Scheffler to stop, but Scheffler continued to drive about 10 to 20 yards toward the entrance. At one point, an officer attached himself to the side of Scheffler's car. Scheffler stopped his car as he turned into the entrance of Valhalla Golf Club. After about 20 to 30 seconds, Scheffler rolled down his window to talk to the officer. Officer grabbed Scheffler's arm to pull him out of the vehicle. According to Darlington, the officer reached inside the vehicle to open the door, and once Scheffler was pulled out, he was pushed against the car and placed in handcuffs. Driving through an accident scene, let alone a scene where a fatality was, yeah, that's going to buy you that kind of treatment. Darlington was standing at the entrance when Scheffler was detained. Darlington said Scheffler turned to him and asked, "Can you help?" And according to Darlington, an officer instructed him to back away. He says, "You need to get out of the way," the officer told Darlington. "Right now he's going to jail and there's nothing you can do about it." Scheffler, who is 27 years old, had won four of his past 5 starts, including his second major championship of the Masters in April. He's scheduled to tee off at 10:08 this morning Eastern Time, which is at about, from the point I'm reading this, about an hour and 15 minutes. The start of the second round was delayed after a shuttle bus struck and killed a pedestrian outside Valhalla Golf Club. A spokesperson for the Louisville Metro Police Department confirmed to ESPN. That's horrible. The unidentified man was attempting to cross Shelbyville Road around 5 a.m. when he was struck in a dedicated lane for buses. Police said the man died at the scene. Several police and first responders were still at the scene at 6:45 a.m. Eastern Time. Traffic had backed up on the roadway in dark and wet conditions, and shuttle buses bringing fans to the golf course had been stopped. Second round of the PGA Championship had been scheduled to start at 7:15 a.m. I'm guessing that's been delayed. So, why did I read you that, and why are we talking about this? First off, I'm a fan of Scottie Scheffler. I think he's a great golfer. Seems for the most part to be a well-rounded guy. He's very much a what do you call it? A pro that engages with the fans and gives the fans a lot. You know, anybody that interacts with the fans is great in my book, because the fans are what realistically pay their salary. You know, fans stop showing up and stop buying the stuff that they're sponsored to present. They're not going to make the kind of money they make to play golf for a living. So, things like this shit happened this morning, and it pisses me off to the core, because, you know, these guys think that because they have millions of dollars in the bank and have a name that shows up on TV from time to time and a few big-time championships under their belt, they can do whatever they want. And that's not the case. You know, whether you've got $10 million or $10 in your bank account, you cannot drive through a freaking accident scene, let alone an accident scene where there's been a fatality. Coming from experience of being on scenes where there's been a fatality, one, that is an incredibly long time to be out there for police, first responders, anybody involved in that accident or who's responded to that accident. And why I say that is because anytime there's a fatality, first responders, fire, and police have to stay on the scene. One, to keep traffic away. Two, you have to isolate the area where this happened. Three, you have to preserve what they call preserve the integrity of the scene, which you cannot disturb anything. Okay? Everything has to stay as it is. In fact, they used to call, I don't know if they still do, but when I was in firefighting, they would call volunteer firefighters evidence eradicators, because they would just go in and just start moving stuff and you know, not really paying attention to what they were doing. And you can't do that. You know, I'm not saying that. I was a volunteer fireman to start as well, but there are some that don't have the world's best training, and they just go in and start, especially if there's a fatal, whether it be a house fire, car wreck, anything, you have to, even when you're working to help other patients or do things, you have to keep the integrity of the scene in mind. You can't just start destroying stuff, because you'll destroy the evidence. So everything has to be preserved exactly as is. Then you have to sit there and wait for the accident reconstructionists to come in, and then they have to reconstruct everything and try to figure out how this happened. It takes hours upon hours upon hours, and that is why roadways are closed for a long period of time. My guess is the PGA was very much well aware of this, and probably, I'm guessing, it probably pushed the start back, you know, for a while they dealt with this, because clearly this affected people coming and going from the golf course. But I'm telling you, whether you're a pro golfer with all these titles under your name, or you're a fan showing up to the course, you can't drive through a flipping accident scene where there's been a fatality. One, you're going to destroy possible evidence that is used to piece this thing together. Two, you run the risk of striking the people that are there trying to help. I can't tell you how many times as a firefighter I've almost been hit by cars trying to drive through this stuff. Okay? I've witnessed officers pulling people out of their car and placing them in handcuffs for trying to drive through a scene. People, you're not that important, okay? Also, you got to remember, somebody just died there, okay? Your making it to a golf tournament is not the priority at that point. I know to you it is, because I get it, there's a lot of money on the line, but somebody lost their life this morning, okay? Have some flipping respect, and have some respect for the officers and the first responders working the scene. It pisses me off to the core when these pro athletes just think that I can just do whatever I want because hey, I got a lot of money and some titles to my name. And I'm this, and I'm that. My name's this, my name's that. And I applaud the officer for telling the guy at the golf course to back the hell off, because, you know, a lot of times this doesn't go that way. They tend to turn these people loose and they go on. But this officer held his ground and basically says he's going to jail and there's nothing you're going to do about it. And it's time that the bar gets set for this crap, because I get so tired of hearing, you know, just because somebody's so-called important or has a big name or a lot of money to their name, oh, we'll just look the other way. No. And again, I'm a Scottie Scheffler fan. I think he's a great golfer. But not for this. This is entitled, narcissistic bullshit. And then not only that, but then to drive on the median in the grass through what is considered to be a crime scene until otherwise noted, and you have a fatality that occurred. You just can't drive through shit like that and just be like, yeah, I've got a golf tournament to go to. Forget everybody else. Yeah, I'm sure the PGA is working with the golfers, because, again, from what it sounds like, that road's going to be closed a while as they piece all this back together. I mean, and then on top of that, they got to do interviews and everything else. And so this jackass decides to drive through this thing, and then, hell, he could have screwed something up. Because also you got to consider, you got to look at tire tracks, you got to look at route of travel, you got to try to find out which way the guy was crossing the street when this incident happened. I mean, there's so much to consider here. So let the police officers, the firefighters, EMS, paramedics, EMTs, accident reconstructionists, anybody that's out there, let them do their flipping job. We don't see any. You guys don't allow people behind the ropes at PGA events for obvious reasons. But if a fan were to jump or go up or go over or underneath one of those barrier ropes and go, you know, run across the green or go like try to high five one of the pros as they're trying to play golf, that fan would be arrested and drug off the golf course. We respect you in your arena. Respect us in our arena, and don't be a dick. And that goes for people beyond the profession of sports. That also goes for just everybody doing their everyday life. I get it. Sometimes we run late to work. Sometimes we don't like being in traffic. Sometimes we don't like sitting still in traffic when we don't know what's going on. And it can be incredibly frustrating, I understand. But please, do not drive through an accident scene or anything where an event has taken place, because I promise you, you will not have a good experience. Florida, thank goodness, is one of those states where with our governor and law enforcement and that, they do have laws in place that if you try to drive through an accident scene or stuff like that, or you, God forbid, strike a first responder on a scene, yeah, you're going to go to jail for a long time, as it should be. You know, that's a felony. And now with him, you know, he's facing a felony charge because he, you know, apparently he must have got into a tussle with the officer. So, you know, again, in Florida, I know this is in Kentucky, but in Florida, you assault an officer like that, you're going to go to jail for a while, as you should. I'm sick and tired of just people looking the other way with this crap. Oh, well, that's so-and-so. No, enough. It's just like if, you know, if somehow, some way, this channel blows up, or I go on to do something else and my name gets really big and I get well known, that doesn't exempt me from following rules of everyday life. You know, just because my name is this, I don't have to. All those peasants, they can sit in the line. I'm going to drive through the median. Don't work like that. So please, everybody, respect our brave firefighters, police, EMS personnel, reconstructions, anybody that goes out to an accident, especially accident scenes. Those are by far the most dangerous, because you are working pretty much unprotected in an uncontrolled environment, as I used to call it. Now, we do sometimes, we'll park the engine at an angle to traffic, which tends to use the engine as a barrier. So if the accident is, let's say, you know, up ahead, we're going to park the engine behind the accident at an angle, which technically gets people away from the accident and creates a barrier. But still, somebody could go past the engine and then try to cut through another way. I tell you, even with all the protections in place and the "don't run me over" vests, as we call them, those big bright green things, the lights they put out, the cones, putting the engine or fire apparatus in place as a barrier. Even with all that, rescuers still get struck by vehicles by people doing moronic shit like that. So, don't be a dick. Follow the instructions of the officers or firefighters or whomever's directing traffic, and keep your ass safe. And now, this guy is going to cost him, I mean, granted, he's got a lot of money, but he's going to cost himself an unnecessary amount of money because he's going to have to eventually go to court for this. Going to have to go back to Louisville. Going to have to deal with this. Okay? And depending on the laws in Louisville, it could get very expensive for him. And, hopefully they don't show any leniency, because whether you're a pro or you're somebody going to work, you're a pro in in another job, we're all professionals. That's the way I look at it. A lot of us, like the commercial says, we choose to go pro in something other than sports. So whether you are going to your career or you're going to play sports for a living, don't be an asshole. Follow the rules and everything that's set forth. And I get it, it gets frustrating, but you can't just go tearing through stuff like that. And also, we have all of this. We can check the traffic before you leave home. You can see, I do that every morning before I go to work. I get up early and I pull up the traffic app and I see, okay, is there an accident there? Okay, if there's an accident there, that's going to delay me, so I need to go this way. So I'll leave a little earlier. Like, you have to do that. And these guys, they play golf for a living. You play golf 4 days a week, Thursday through Sunday, pretty much every week, with practice rounds on Tuesday, Wednesday. That's your job. You have the discipline. If we can do it, you can do it. And I know that they got a lot going on, but still, that doesn't exempt you from, getting to drive. That doesn't exempt you from being able to drive through a car accident scene when the road's closed, just because you're somebody with a name. So anyway, that's all I got to say about that. Stay safe out there. Fire, police, military, EMS, hospital, medical, everybody. Thank you for what you do. Stay safe out there. And again, we always got to keep our head on a swivel, because you never know what, unfortunately, somebody's going to do. And especially to all you people on the road, follow the directions of the officer, whoever's directing traffic, and don't be an asshole. Don't drive through an accident scene or anywhere you're not supposed to. All right? All right. Y'all have a fantastic day. I will see you later. Main Street Fire Rescue, out of service. See you, everybody.